Hi, everybody. Welcome to the VIP Home Podcast. We have our very own brand ambassador, Laurie Smith. Thank you for joining us today for our intro to design, how to design.
Yes, exciting.
Well, without further ado, we will get started. As a homeowner, when approaching design for the very first time, where
Yes.
should one even begin?
It can feel so overwhelming. I'm just going to put that out there, right? I don't want people to think it's only me. I don't know where to start. I think everyone feels that way. Even when I'm coming on a big project myself, I have to kind of sit back and make a list, right? So the question I think I'm hearing is what's the first thing on the list, right? Like what am I starting with? And I think there are several options. So typically clients are just buying a house for the first time or buying a new house, or they've lived in their home for a while and have saved and it's time to do those renovations they've wanted to do. So the first thing that I always tell people to consider and really think hard about is, how do I want this space to function for me, if I'm just an individual, or for my family? What does this space need to be? What do I want it to be? Finding somewhere in between, the happy medium. And really, what I say, kind of evaluating the space and the bones of the house.
Mm-hmm.
What is the house structurally? Does it get great natural light, or is it dark? I could do all the beautiful interior decor I want, but if I'm in the dark, what's the point, right?
Right.
So looking at the structure itself and how I need it to function. So that's and that literally can be a handwritten list. And if it's you and your spouse, you on your own, right. Don't come to the table without understanding that first.
But it's more of, also to elaborate on it a little bit, are there questions that you would be asking that homeowner, and also what kind of questions should the homeowners be asking you?
Yes, absolutely. So as the homeowner, if you've done that portion of your homework, you're way ahead of the game, because then when you bring on someone like myself, you indeed know what it is to some degree. A lot of it's going to be a learning curve. Oh, I thought I wanted that, but actually I do want that, right? So, but if you at least come to the table with knowing what you don't want and how the house isn't functioning, that's sometimes I encourage people, if they can, try to live in the house little while, because the things that bother you initially may not even be the things that bother you. It may be like, gosh, this room stays dark all day and I thought it was going to get more light and it really doesn't. That bothers me. Or this ceiling feels lower than I thought. And, this wall is too closed up. I really would like to open it to this room because we're constantly walking through the house in this direction and it's too narrow. The sofa needs to go somewhere else. We're bumping into it. It's, those general traffic patterns. Storage, I thought we had enough storage. We really don't. We need more of a organization in the home. Mm-hmm. So when you can live in the space, just a minute, and it's difficult because I understand when you're buying, you want to get it done, you want to move in, but sometimes it's beneficial to have lived there, even just a few months, just before, make your list, come to the table educated if you're going to hire a designer and an architect. Because then you're in the dialogue, right? You're in the discussion.
Right.
The things that I ask clients initially are a lot of those questions. What do you want? What bothers you? What do you love about the house? Have you pulled any? I mean, I know people don't really look at magazines anymore. I kind of miss those days because it was so nice to pull it out. Now it's like okay, well, download as much as you can, email me imagery helps.
Right.
Because when people are drawn to something and I can at least see, they may not know their aesthetic or style per se, but I can deduce that pretty quickly from what they're pulling out of magazines or off social media or, whatever. So that helps to keep a little working file. Do you like to cook? Is that important to you? When we're addressing this kitchen, or are you just more like a takeout, person, and you just need a place for everyone to land in a warming drawer. Warming drawer is key, right? We have a busy family. Everyone's eating at different times. No, we have sit down meals and I cook every meal. Those are different needs, right? Yeah. So really evaluating the space is the first and foremost. And then after that, knowing, how this house has to support us physically, emotionally, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Then looking at the actual structure, how can we achieve that? Where can we be more frugal? Where do we unfortunately just have to spend some money? And then it turns into that precarious balance of, that's where budgeting. Another big question I would ask right out of the gate is, before you come to a designer or an architect, know your budget.
And that you're going to go over that budget.
And they are always going to go over it. The builder will go over it. The designer, if she or he is good, won't. But sometimes that happens too, but the building does inevitably. I've had one builder not go over, and I just wanted to walk around hugging him all day. I don't even can't believe you're like a 1 in a million. So, know your budget and set your boundaries. But I will say, the more educated you are, the less, the biggest costs come up in the end. Oh, wait, I wanted that outlet there. Oh, no, I do want one more light over here, in the things that, oh, wait, because you weren't coming into it as educated as you could be. Maybe your designer brings you a board of, 3 options for furnitures and say, great, I really want to invest in a really well-constructed sofa that will be with my family forever. That's important to me. We are going to congregate on it, but maybe my area rugs, I'd rather invest more in the hardwood floors, but maybe my area rugs we can go to a carpet store and get, what's in stock on the roll, have it cut, bound, and it doesn't have to be something very expensive like an Usac or a Persian, whatever. We don't have to spend that money there. I'd rather spend it on the sofa. Or I want to budget X amount for art, and of that budget, one can really be really special. I know in a certain room over a fireplace, I want that. But then I can start to really look for little almost gallery wall pieces that can nestle in. Try to do as much homework as you can too, because then you're not at the mercy of someone saying, here it is, here's your only option, you got to spend this,
Right. People's jaw drops. And also what you were saying with the area rugs is such an easy way, right, to update a space, and pillows.
Totally. And I'm just, it's probably not very exciting, but I love just a natural weave. It's fresh, it's timeless, it's very French, and I'd rather put my pattern into textiles and art. And, the most pattern I have, and this is off the bolt, at a carpet dealer here in Atlanta, that in stock, had it cut. The beautiful thing is I could say, okay, I have this awkward size room. I need a rug that's 12 by 13.8, 12.2 by 13.8.
Right,
if I'm really put off the edge, but I could have it cut in-house, serged, and it, promise you, was a lot less than the sofa,
Right. No, I love that. So what should people expect though when designing, besides, having somebody come into their house, maybe timetable, how long it takes to make that vision board, maybe, whether
Yeah.
it's their vision and maybe, things that you're pulling for them as well.
Well, I wish I could say, here's the exact timeline. Every designer is different. Some are way busier than others, and so I think the questions to ask initially are, where am I falling in your queue here? Can we get started immediately, or are you a 3 month out? If you're willing to wait because you love that person's style, you want them, great. So I would ask those questions. So, and also, this is another important thing. A lot of people hire a designer and are so excited to work with that designer, but didn't ask, how busy are you and where am I, and then you get relegated to the new assistant designer.
Yeah.
Who, and she may have great, or he may be fabulous, that's great, but make sure you know who you're really working with.
That's a really good point.
Right?
A really good point. Yeah.
Yes. So be very, will we be working with you? Do you have the final? Usually the designer, does delegate out a lot, and that's fair, to bring it all to fruition, but she or he does have the final creative say. Just make sure that's the case and that they do have their hand on it, and that it's not just been, oh yeah, here, you take it. I've got it.
And push to the side.
Push to the side. So, I would anticipate that, I know when I work with someone, we have an initial kind of, like I said, meet and greet like this. I understand their needs. I try, ask as many questions as I can. I tour the home. I take any measurements I need. I mean, that can be maybe broken up into 2 or 3 hour kind of initial meetings. Right. And then I go back to the drawing board, and I would say, depending how many people I'm working with at the time, I try to get back to that client within a week or two. And I say, I'm going to get a couple of schematics together. I'll do a high low. Maybe we can mix and match, we can pull things that, we'll see what you like, what you don't like. And then that sometimes it's just a grand slam win. Love it. I love everything about that, or it's, well, I love it, but can't afford it. And I get it, and so, okay, well, let's start, and then it becomes, then we say, okay, what is it about this? I also love homeowners to come with me, clients to come to me, not only with some photos, or they tell me, oh, I love this that I saw that you did, or this photo here, or whatever. I love this look. I love what this feels. But, to come with an object, something that's a piece of inspiration. Like, for instance, I put this here in case we were having this conversation. So this room behind me, and this is a Murano glass shell it's French 1940s. It was my grandparents. They brought it back on their honeymoon from Paris. It's really special, and it's really difficult to find this, but I've loved this. It's an ashtray, right? But I mean, it was the 40s, but I love it. And so I really used this when it came time to design my living room. I said, I love everything about this. I love the simplicity, but the glamour. I love the organic quality, but, again, the pared down. I love this apricot color and the cream and neutral, and then everything that plays off of that. I love the little bit of gold fleck, just a touch of elegance, yet simple, natural, this just,
I love that you have that.
Yeah. Isn't that great? And so when I was working on my own space, and I'm not saying the room matches this, this is like what inspires the mood, so when things started to, all of a sudden, if I was like into some like deep jewel tone colors on the walls, and everything, and it wasn't feeling right, or something was just being brought my way that I was like, wait, this isn't where I wanted to go. My client and I have a point of reference to say, whoa, let's go back to our touchstone. What do we love? Right. And then the client has ownership. Right. It's an expression of them, because ultimately And this isn't, Laurie Smith's coming in to do my home. Okay, no, this isn't the Laurie Smith home. This is
This,
your home. And
right.
I'm facilitating and doing all that I can to make sure that it nurtures you and your family, and that it is an expression of you, and that you didn't just land in some, museum that feels precious and had nothing to do with you.
Right.
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 So that helps with that process. But
So when should somebody enlist a pro like yourself and or an architect to help design that space? Where do you come in, and whether it's a brand new home, whether it's a rehab, whether somebody just, all of it, when somebody just buys it and you're at that very beginning stage?
I will say it just depends on the individual. There are some people who just naturally have an eye and know that if I raise the ceiling or widen that opening or change out the flooring, or, that will make a big difference, or expand a window. And they can kind of contract out themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, Dana, don't have the time and don't have the vision to do that.
Right.
I I went to interior design school, so I could draft, a lot of any of the renovations I was doing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
even I knew in this house here in
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, I was raising the ceilings. I didn't get an architect involved, but I darn well had the electrician meeting with the contractor meeting. I'm unique because I could kind of manage that and kind of
Mm-hmm.
contract it to some degree myself. But I would know more if I was a layman, not in this industry, and was going to start moving walls and building out or going up.
It's
Get an architect. Get an architect. I mean, you just have to. You just have to. And even exterior facade changes. It, it will always go more seamlessly if the builder has plans. Always.
well, even if they have plans, are there any things to consider that could go wrong, whether it's with a designer or an architect? Like, what does that look
Well,
like?
and I think the biggest challenges now, I think renovation
Mm-hmm.
just is always going to, I think building from the ground up has less surprises. I mean, that's just the
Just
way it is, right?
don't
You're dealing
uncover
with
those
new
surprises.
electrical, new plumbing, you're starting your new foundation, ground up builds. If something goes drastically wrong, then someone's at fault, in my opinion. But a renovation, you never know what's behind those walls. Or up in that. I mean, you just don't know how old that wiring is, how old the plumbing is, how old the ductwork is.
Mm.
Does it need, it's like you're peeling away the layers, which is exciting because you're making aesthetic, cosmetic changes, which we all love.
Yeah.
But you're also opening, oh gosh, that ductwork was 55 years old and it
Maybe,
looks it.
yeah,
I mean,
can of worms.
yeah. And now we've got to rip out all the ductwork because there's mold growing in it. And we didn't know this,
Yeah.
been there. So,
Yeah.
which means taking more walls to the studs and getting, um, so I'd love to say, oh yes, minute you bring in that architect and builder, yeah, all plans are, nothing's going to go wrong. Well, but the good news is when you do come up to those challenges, you have seasoned people who it's not their first rodeo. So they know what to do, who to put in place, fix it. That's their job. They're
Mm-hmm.
problem solvers.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
are problem solvers. Again, stay very educated to market comps with builders. And if you have to call, if they tell you, oh yeah, this wiring's old, we're gonna have to rewire the whole house and it's gonna be $80,000, make a few calls to other electric companies, and say, hey, can you come give me a quote? I mean, why wouldn't you? Would you
Right.
take one doctor's opinion and it's not a good diagnosis and never go get a second opinion? So if you have any question that that cost is higher than you think it should be, inquire, be
Right.
your own advocate.
So that brings us to a good point of calling and getting quotes. And how do
Mm.
you get that designer sofa look for less without making things, without cutting too many corners, but how do you get that design look for
Yeah.
not the designer price tag?
I try to go, at least with sofas, with as tailored and classic as a frame as I can.
Mhm.
I love, to me, a timeless, elegant sofa is going to have what I call an English arm, which is very tailored, cut, not that big roll, but something
Right.
that's going to look dated immediately, right? It got this big overdone furniture, the big arms, that I knew that was going to be a flash in the pan. Now everyone's like, I don't know that. I think right now everyone's doing these big, uh, kind of 70s organic looking, stepped chairs and
Mhm.
sectionals. And that's great. I mean, it's a real contemporary look and fine. But to me, personally, it's just a classic design stands the test of time. And if I can find a good frame, and there are some good resources out there that understand a good frame, and you can use one of their fabrics instead of a designer fabric, can do COM, they call it customers and material, but they have a repertoire to choose from. You have choice A, B, C, okay, you can, that helps.
Mhm.
Um, then what I would do, this is just, and we've done this, is brought in that sofa, had it upholstered in, like we had one that upholstered in a pretty navy with a tight little, it had a tight back, 3 seat cushions, an English arm, a little straight wood leg. It wasn't skirted, but timeless. I mean, it's hard to say that that's out of style, right? Just a
Right.
classic line sofa. And then I brought it to the upholsterer and had them take out the seats and restuff with core foam wrapped in down, down, down. And all of a sudden I had domed down seating, more comfortable, the way that, it was, the seat cushion was looking, it just looked more expensive. We splurged on some throw pillows, that really, that's where the money went, into these really unique, wonderful
Mhm.
throw pillows. Splurged on a really great, wonderful throw that draped over the back of the navy sofa, adding some more interest. All of a sudden, the sofa was only about comfort and construction. And it didn't have to be
Mhm.
this $8,000 off the floor sofa. It could be a $2,700 sofa that we dressed up and fluffed up. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah, 100%. So for the typical person that doesn't have you, what would you even recommend? Like, have a consultation with that designer if you don't want the full package of
Yeah.
what you offer and you just want to do the odds and ends and really dress it up, you
I
know.
think there are multi-tiered levels of design shops out there. I think you can hire a designer who is going to take the full reins, big budget, blow it out. Good for you.
Right.
Not, not everyone's reality. I think there are designers who will come out and consult.
Yeah.
You could ask, could I be your hourly? Could I pay you hourly? Or do you, or a consulting, kind of retainer, and then use you to, I mean, especially young designers starting off, they're like, sure. There are great online design companies that you'll literally Zoom with a designer. It's amazing. They will put together a plan virtually, and
Mhm.
they source everything for you. And you do have to do the ordering, but it saves you a ton of money because they're sourcing it on pertaining to your budget.
Right.
You're doing the ordering and the leg, you're going to have to have it delivered. Someone's going to have to set it up, whatever, because your designer may be in Colorado and you're in Minnesota. I don't know, but that's how those online, but you got the ideas and you got the sourcing and you got help with the paint color to pull it all together. Those are some of the most overwhelming choices for people. They're making this investment and they don't want to mess it up. And
Yeah.
and so getting those, there are a lot of people who say, I don't mind doing the legwork. I just need the direction. And there are designers and companies out there that will do that. I know there are. You just have to do your research.
You have to do your research. That's so true. So, Laurie, you
Yes.
have this wealth of information that everybody is dying to wrap their arms around. The exciting thing for that is you guys can all see Laurie with all of this information and something that she's going to share with you now.
Yes. Well, it's with VIP HomeLink, we are doing a series that is going to dig deeper into a lot of what we're discussing, whether, design, they're going to be, it's called the Design For series. Design for purpose, design for maintenance, design for safety, a lot of different topics we're talking about within the home. What, and lots of visuals. I feel we're all, when it comes to home, especially, it's like a picture's worth 1,000 words, right?
Yeah.
Oh, now I see.
What you mean? Yeah.
Right. And so what these Design For series will be is a lot of visual and some narrative of me kind of XYZ. Now think about this, and they're just going to be informational, kind of go-to sources of information. So, and I hope that builds, there's so much, the exciting thing is there's so much possibility with this. So, but we are definitely jumping in and getting started. So it's exciting. Yes. I love to teach, Dana. I love to teach.
Personally, I love learning from you. I know the entire VIP HomeLink team loves learning from you. All the information that you're putting out there and just with your expertise, God, for many years, you have a huge following and now there will be more and homeowners all over can watch you, learn from you, and create amazing spaces in their home off of all of these great tips that you're going to provide. So,
and know how to maintain it and keep their family safe through your company. So, that's why I love VIP HomeLink so much. It's like, again, it's kind of like I referred earlier. What's the point in investing all this if you're in the dark? Well, what's the point in investing it all if you're not maintaining this beautiful vessel that your family's in? So, right. And there's a schedule to that, and there's work to it, but you guys help take a lot of the work out of it, which is so great.
Well, thank you. And we're so excited for what's to come, and we will be seeing a lot of Laurie. So Laurie, thank you so much again. It's always a pleasure having you.
Loved it. Talk soon.
Until next time.